On the eve of my wedding, I discovered I had acquired the ability to read minds. Gu Jing, conceal the wolf's tail, conceal the wolf's tail, conceal the wolf's tail. Important matters bear repeating 3 times. Me? I cannot comprehend. Until the wedding night. As I emerged from the cocoon of blankets, I found a fluffy wolf's tail nestled within my grasp. Once the marriage certificate was obtained and the vows exchanged, I realized that my husband was not human. At the detective agency of the Thousand Knives Merfolk, tomorrow, I shall roast every last aquatic creature in the sea until they are but dried fish, or I shall not bear the surname Gu Jing, having indulged in copious amounts of alcohol at the wedding banquet, was now gloriously inebriated, utterly forsaking his usual composed and aloof demeanor. He had wrapped himself in the blanket, resembling a spring roll, his face flushed, and his dark, brooding eyes glimmering with moisture. Do not pinch the base of my tail. That spot there is sensitive." Upon uttering this, he blushed fiercely, burying his face in the pillow with a muffled whine. I glanced down and beheld a long, gray tuft of fur languidly resting in my palm. No adult male's hair, lashes, chest hair, or leg hair could possibly resemble this creature's. I seized a corner of the blanket and violently pulled it aside. Flipping over, I perched upon Gu Jing's back. He attempted to resist, but I swiftly delivered a slap. "Behave yourself." Upon hearing this, Gu Jing ceased his struggles, his tail drooping dejectedly behind him. I grasped it firmly, pulling it directly to the root. Goodness, this thing was genuinely sprouting from flesh.
Ugh.
I inquired, "Do you have anything to say to me?" Gu Jing remained silent for an extended period, eventually stammering, "And no, my." His voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz, and I could not make it out. "Speak louder." He turned to face me, his enchanting peach blossom eyes misty and filled with a pitiful accusation. Do not stroke my tail." My hand froze mid-stroke, and I tossed his tail aside, as if I care. Propping my chin on my hand, I regarded Gu Jing thoughtfully. Truth be told, his visage was rather compelling. His inky black hair fell in soft curls across his forehead. His peach blossom eyes appeared to hold unspoken words, the corners slightly upturned, and the most exquisite detail was the tiny teardrop mole beneath his left eye. I reached out and pressed my thumb against it. "What manner of creature are you?" "A wolf." I have never encountered such a coward. I dismounted from Gu Jing and reclined beside him, staring at the stark white ceiling, which pierced my eyes painfully. Joy often precedes sorrow, and I was a living testament to this. This marked my 11th year of traversing the pages of a story, and if I failed to locate the male lead and successfully win his heart, I would truly be unable to return. Gu Jing leaned closer, cautiously enveloping me in his arms, his tail swaying gently. Exhausted, I murmured, "Let us go obtain the certificate tomorrow." "What certificate?" "The divorce certificate." Gu Jing's tail ceased its movement, and his entire being stiffened. "Why?" "Because you are not human." A furry arm crossed before me, and Gu Jing's large wolf paw lifted my chin, compelling me to meet his gaze. "No, it cannot be." The words were ground out through clenched teeth. At this moment, 2 wolf ears had already perked up atop Gu Jing's head, grayish-white fur sprouting along his cheeks, his mouth slightly ajar, revealing glistening fangs. In the dim light, his half-human, half-wolf form was somewhat disconcerting. Our noses nearly touched, his amber eyes ablaze with fury. Gu Jing's chest heaved with rage, a massive paw resting on my shoulder, the pads beneath his claws soft and yielding. I had heard that when wolves experience heightened emotions, it becomes challenging for them to maintain their human form. However, this usually occurred with wolf cubs. A sudden sense of foreboding washed over me. "How old are you this year?"
I asked.
Gu Jing.
Woo. Woohoo.
Hoo. Me. "Do you truly believe I am fluent in wolf language?" "I speak human language." Gu Jing. Woohoo. He howled, his wolf head bobbing up and down. Setting aside other matters, I could not tolerate the wolf for clinging to me. It was excruciatingly irritating. I swiftly raised my hand and pinched his wolf mouth. Wait a moment. With a flick of my finger, a small pink vial soared from the vanity into my palm. This was my newly concocted potion, allowing me to glean the thoughts of cats, birds, dogs, wolves, and even humans with just a touch. Although its effects would only last a minute, it was more than sufficient. I twisted open the cap and sampled a taste with my tongue. "Repeat what you just said." Gu Jing.
Woo. Woohoo. Hoo.
Damn it. I promptly kicked him. Grasping Gu Jing by the nape, I bundled him and the blanket together and unceremoniously tossed him at the bedroom door. I have never owned a dog, so I cannot truly comprehend the sentiment of having one's home dismantled by their own pet. However, at this moment, I am exceedingly frustrated. My husband Gu Jing and I have only recently completed the renovation of our marital abode, and already, the newly installed wooden door of our bedroom bears the marks of dozens of claw scratches. The culprit lies sprawled on the floor, blissfully asleep. I give his furry form a firm slap. It is soft and springy. Gu Jing, startled awake, sits up and gazes at me in bewilderment. Having sobered up, he no longer resembles the shy, demure spouse from the previous night. His eyes, cold and clear, regard me with a steady gaze as he remarks, "Wolves have but one mate in their lifetime. Rather than exhausting yourself pondering divorce, you might contemplate how to become a widow." The implication is clear. Divorce is only an option if I were to perish. "Fine, no divorce," I retort. Gu Jing's eyes widen in astonishment, clearly unprepared for my swift acquiescence. "Turn around," I command. "What for?" he inquires. "To be punished," I reply. He bares his teeth, emitting an intimidating growl. "Or, do you wish for a divorce?" Gu Jing shoots me a glare, tail tucked, as he turns away, his ears drooping listlessly. After a night of reflection, I have recovered from my overwhelming sense of disappointment. Before my transmigration, I had hastily skimmed the beginning and end of this novel, scarcely remembering its title before succumbing to sleep. Upon awakening, I found a peculiar figure standing at the foot of my bed, a man with the body of a deer, clad in a white lab coat. He appeared to be in his 40s or 50s, with graying hair, antlers atop his head, and brown deer ears. His round, gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, and upon noticing my wakefulness, he offered a kind smile. From the waist up, he resembled a polite, middle-aged gentleman. "Who are you? Why do you have the body of a deer?" I asked, bewildered. The surroundings had not changed. I remained in my own room, or rather, in a space that resembled my room, for some of the furnishings were unfamiliar to me. Shaking my head, I muttered, "Am I hallucinating from sleeping too late?" At my words, the man frowned slightly. "I am your Uncle Deer, Lu Yueming." After a brief pause, Lu Yueming inquired, "Do you remember your name?" "Sure air?" I began to doubt even my own memory. Lu Yueming nodded, "And do you recall what happened before?" I numbly shook my head. "You've forgotten that when you were learning to fly on a broomstick, you fell from the air and injured your head." I was taken aback. "Fly? On a broom?" Lu Yueming's expression darkened, and I sensed an emotion akin to pity in his gaze. He picked up a purple glass orb from the bedside table and asked, "Do you know what this is? A glass ball?" I ventured. "No," he declared emphatically. "This is your magic orb." I was speechless. He began to pace restlessly, then hurried outside to return with the black cat. "Can you understand what it says?" I felt embarrassed. Am I supposed to? Just then, a middle-aged woman entered through the bedroom door, dressed entirely in black, draped in a black cloak, and wearing an enormous black hat. Her attire was reminiscent of a witch from a fairy tale. But the most bizarre part was, "Mom, why are you dressed like a witch?" I exclaimed. My mother ignored me, and instead looked anxiously at Lu Yueming. "Yueming, what has happened to my daughter?" Lu Yueming raised a hand to indicate his own head, his expression grave. "She has sustained an injury here, resulting in a bit of mental confusion. Let's wait a few days and see. If it doesn't improve, we may need to consult a psychiatrist." I felt like crying as I petted the black cat lying on my bed. "So, you are the minion of the witch?" The cat slapped me with its paw. "Unfilial child. I am your father." It took me a month to gradually accept the reality of my transmigration into a book. The dormant system, which had been silent for so long, issued its first and only task, to charm the male lead. The deadline? 11 years and 1 month. "What about other information?" I pressed. The system replied, "The male lead is human." "Is that all?"
"Yes."
"Humans are a rare species here. They are easy to find." Ultimately, after some negotiation, the system granted me a bracelet that would glow when near the male lead. And thus began my 11-year search. Not only did I not encounter the male lead, but I had yet to meet a single ordinary person. With a resigned sigh, I glanced at Gu Jing, who was obediently presenting his rear to me. At least he was compliant and handsome. His glossy fur could keep my hands warm in winter. I suppose I could make do with this life. I gently patted Gu Jing's head. "All right, go play." Gu Jing raised his neck to look at me. "And what about you?" "I have to work." "What about our honeymoon?" "I have no time off." Gu Jing huffed in displeasure, positioning himself at the door as if to say, "You dare to leave this house." Though I felt somewhat guilty. As a wage slave, I had my own frustrations. I crouched down and poked his nose with my fingertip. It was cool and slightly damp. "You'd better guard the house and remember to use a lint roller to clean up your fur." Gu Jing shook his head dismissively, his tone unfriendly. Guard the house? Do you think I am one of those silly dogs? Enough, I said, picking up a broom from the doorway. If I don't leave now, I'll be late. Gu Jing remained motionless, lazily lifting an eyelid to glance at me. With me around, why ride a broom? I was taken aback. Ride me? I could never have imagined that one day I would be riding a wolf to work. When Gu Jing transformed into his full wolf form, he was several times my size, standing taller than me. With a broad, sturdy back, Gu Jing ran with astonishing speed, yet I felt secure perched upon him. The wind whistled past my ears, but Gu Jing's body radiated warmth. Unable to resist, I clung to him, bearing myself against his back. He was fluffy and soft, an incredibly comfortable embrace like a large plush toy. Before I realized it, Gu Jing had reverted to his human form. The morning sunlight cast a gentle glow around him, illuminating his resolute features with a soft halo. Gu Jing pinched my ear playfully. Is it cold? He tenderly brushed the wind-tousled hair from my face, his eyes and brows radiating warmth as he smiled. Next time, I'll make you a little wolf hat to wear. You focus on your work, and I'll bring you lunch at noon.
Oh, right.
Gu Jing seemed to recall something, pulling out a light purple sachet from his pocket, embroidered with a cute wolf cub. The wolf cub sat on the ground, tongue lolling, tail wagging joyfully, exuding an unmistakable wolfish charm. Gu Jing instructed me,
Keep this close to you.
The stitches on the embroidery were slightly uneven, and a bold idea suddenly struck me. Did you do the embroidery? Gu Jing's gaze shifted awkwardly, a hint of a blush coloring his cheeks as he cleared his throat. I heard that girls like these kinds of things. How thoughtful of him. All right, he urged. Off you go to work. My workplace was called the Witch's Affairs office, where my role essentially involved selling potions. For instance, the red-haired mermaid seated across from me was fidgeting. Miss Witch, it's like this, She stammered for a while, failing to finish her sentence, instead releasing a bubble. Such situations were not uncommon in my years of work. I had encountered countless similar cases. So, I answered for her. You've fallen in love with a human and wish to transform your tail into legs, correct? The little mermaid shook her head, then nodded slightly almost. However, he wishes to transform his legs into a fish tail to accompany me in the sea. In other words, I have once again been force-fed dog food. I rummaged through the cabinet and pulled out 2 vials of potions. The blue one allows a person to grow a fish tail, while the red one enables breathing underwater. The effects last for a month, and you can purchase more once they run out. I smiled and waved goodbye to the little mermaid. We welcome your next visit. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the office building. I caught my excited colleague and friend, Moo, who was practically dancing with glee, and asked, What is happening? Darling, our new president has arrived. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. Do you know Lu Lin? He's incredibly handsome. No sooner had she spoken than a group of bodyguards clad in black suits and sunglasses stormed into the room, swiftly laying down a black carpet before standing in perfect formation on either side. One of the towering figures produced a wand from his pocket and pointed it at the ceiling, causing a rain of black feathers to cascade down. As extravagant music began to play, a man strode in with an air of disdainful confidence. His hair was dyed golden, styled into a slicked-back pompadour, and his narrow, phoenix-like eyes squinted slightly, revealing blood-red irises that resembled rubies. A smug smile played on his lips, exuding an aura of mischief. His shoes gleamed, and the gold suit he wore did not come off as gaudy. Rather, it accentuated his roguish charm exquisitely, especially with the black floral shirt underneath. Good day, young Master Lu. The bodyguards bowed deeply, their voices booming. Lu Lin paused, surveying the room with an arrogant glance. Then, a smirk curled his thin lips. So, these are my future little servants. Servants? This is outrageous. I turned to Moo and whispered, A peacock spirit, perhaps? He practically wore flamboyance on his face. He's a human. Haven't you heard of Lu Lin? His father is a top tycoon in Z country, and he's rumored to be part of the legendary Lu family, and Moo explained, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper as her enthusiasm grew. I occasionally nodded in agreement, my mind racing.
Goodness.
It seems I've stumbled into an old-fashioned Mary Sue magical melodrama. Suddenly, the bracelet on my wrist began to emit a faint warmth for the first time in 11 years, shimmering with genuine energy, unlike the trivial tricks of the past. I raised my teacup to sip, my heart inexplicably racing. In the next moment, the system's emotionless notification rang out in my mind. Ding. Congratulations, player. You have successfully located the male lead, Lu Lin. The gong lit system is now activated. Pfft. I spewed the tea I had yet to swallow, nearly choking on it. This flamboyant peacock was clearly the type to play with fire. Help! My ungraceful display seemed to inadvertently attract Lu Lin's attention. As he leaned over my desk and lifted my chin, this lovely sorceress, he chuckled playfully. I know I'm rather handsome, but there's no need to be so excited. After all, there are many days to come. After saying this, Lu Lin released my chin. One of the bodyguards produced an alcohol swab from his pocket, which Lu Lin took and tore open, proceeding to disinfect his hands meticulously. You've got to be kidding me. After much ado, Lu Lin finally departed with his entourage. I stood frozen, feeling utterly defeated. This one I certainly could not handle. Is this yours? And Mu's voice jolted me back to reality as I turned to see her picking up a fragrant pouch from the floor. The little wolf pup on the pouch seemed to glare at me with apparent dissatisfaction. Yes, it's mine. I must have dropped it earlier, and Mu brought it to her nose and sniffed. Why does your pouch smell a bit odd? Can I open it to take a look? I replied, go ahead. Indeed. And Mu exclaimed with a look of realization. No wonder it smells like a beast. You've got this inside. I leaned closer. Noticing the pouch contained dried osmanthus flowers and a tuft of wolf fur, I texted Gu Jing. Why did you stuff wolf fur into the pouch? Gu Jing replied instantly, justifying his action. Wolves like to leave their scent in their territory. I frowned. Well, thank you for that. Gu Jing. At least you didn't just urinate on me. By noon, the weather turned tumultuous. Dark clouds looming overhead and the air thick with moisture, soon unleashing torrents of rain. Large droplets pelted the window, creating a cacophony. I stood in the lobby of the company, calling Gu Jing, but he didn't answer. This guy wouldn't dare come in the rain. Would he? Are you waiting for takeout? Lovely sorceress? Lu Lin appeared out of nowhere, casually draping his arm over my shoulder and grinning at me with a roguish smile. Mr.
Lu, you.
I stepped back, trying to evade his touch. Lu Lin's cool fingertips rested gently on my lips, silencing my next words. Sure. That would seem overly formal. Just call me Lu Lin. The smile lingered on his lips. Yet a glint of coldness flashed in his eyes as he gazed past me into the storm. Who was he looking at? Instinctively, I turned to glance behind, but he grasped my chin. I believe no one in this world could refuse the assistance of a strikingly handsome, dashing, and charming boss like me, right? Though posed as a question. Lu Lin's tone was strikingly assertive. He leaned closer, tilting his head slightly. I froze, realizing that such a gesture would appear as a kiss to any onlooker. In the next moment, the glass window behind me shattered with a deafening crash, shards flying in all directions. Lu Lin swiftly spun around, enveloping me in his embrace to protect me. In the dim light at the end of the street, a figure darted past. I had a strong feeling that Lu Lin had used me as a shield. As my gaze shifted, I spotted a drenched and forlorn-looking dog glaring at me with fury. Clenching a takeout box in his mouth, his fur was matted with rain, and a few tufts of wolf hair stuck up awkwardly on his head. Water streaming down his face. Despite his disheveled appearance, Gu Jing's glare was fierce, as if he wished to snap the neck of the flamboyant peacock chattering beside me. What's wrong? Lu Lin noticed my change in demeanor and followed my gaze. Their eyes met. After a moment of silence, Lu Lin asked, Is he yours? I nodded. Lu Lin, your husky seems rather plump. He must be quite pleasant to cuddle with, right? Is he the one you've been searching for all this time? Gu Jing placed his little wolf paw on my bracelet. Huh. He scoffed. There's finally a bright day. Gu Jing's expression darkened. His little ears drooping like frostbitten petals, his wolf tail tightly tucked beneath him. He looked up, his eyes glinting with malice. I should have bitten through his carotid artery, gotten rid of him, and locked you away. Look at you now. You're reeking of other males. He growled, baring his sharp teeth. Yet, truly, he was utterly devoid of menace. Because right now, Gu Jing resembled a mere puppy of a month or two. His howls were pitiful, and his scrunched face was more endearing than threatening.
Outside.
The storm raged on, and I couldn't bear to let Gu Jing leave in the rain. However, he was too worked up to transform back into his human form. So, I decided to shrink him down and take him back to the office. I grabbed a dry towel to help him dry off. Lift your paws. He obediently raised his front paws. Did he kiss you? No. You misinterpreted. I wrapped his little paws in the towel to dry them and commanded, Lie down, roll over, Gu Jing. I'm here to wipe your damp little belly, I said. Woman. He grasped my chin with his claw-like hands. I am speaking to you. With that, Gu Jing leaned in to kiss me. Naturally. I promptly pressed him down onto the chair, roughly rubbing his fur. I tugged at the nape of his neck, positioning his soft, pale belly towards me. It was delightfully plush, and I pinched it a couple of times, discovering it indeed had some meat to it. A whoa. Gu Jing squirmed restlessly. His eyes filled with a pitiful expression. All right, enough already. I held him down with one hand, tugging at his trembling little tail. This part is still wet. Gu Jing whimpered. Whoa, I'm uncomfortable. I replied, even if you're uncomfortable, you must endure it. After I finished drying him, his light gray fur was fluffed up, and the little pup lay sprawled out, all four paws pointed skyward. I leaned down to kiss his little head, and he let out a soft hum in response. I had no idea he possessed such an adorable side when we first started dating. As I groomed him, I inquired, how old are you really? Gu Jing's small body tensed slightly as he mumbled, 97. Given that wolves typically live for around 1,000 years, I sighed softly, you're so young. Gu Jing shot me a glance, leaning closer to my ear. I can be much bigger. I gasped, what kind of mischievous words are those? Gu Jing looked up at me, his head tilted, his amber eyes innocent and naive. I am a wolf, after all. Moreover, if I hadn't transformed this morning. Gu Jing chuckled lightly. How would you have been able to ride me? When Enmu returned from lunch, I was busy brushing Gu Jing's tail. He bit his lip and let out soft whines, his eyes shimmering with emotion. Do you dare? I challenged. After a long pause without discipline, Gu Jing had become rather unruly. I dare, he replied, his tone playful. If not for the fur around his face, I could easily imagine him blushing. Enmu leaned in. Is this your magical pet? Sometimes witches kept little magical companions, like the chameleon perched on Enmu's shoulder. Or my own black cat at home. Oh no, that is my father. He's her husband, Gu Jing interjected before I could speak. Enmu clearly didn't believe it. Pinching Gu Jing's ear, almost getting bitten in return. This little creature is quite fierce and possessive. However, keeping a husky as a magical pet isn't a wise choice. Gu Jing's expression darkened at being compared to a husky. Seeing him flustered, I couldn't resist teasing him, pretending to challenge the impossible. Upon my return, I found Gu Jing pitifully hiding beneath the table, curled up and trembling. Only when he saw me did he emerge, extending his little paw towards me, seeking a hug. As soon as I picked him up, he burrowed into my embrace, whimpering softly, utterly adorable. He cooed, hug. Who could possibly refuse the endearing charm of a little wolf?
Certainly not me.
I enveloped Gu Jing in my arms, kissing his head, my maternal instincts overflowing. Is this better? His response was a gentle nuzzle against me. Enmu observed and clicked her tongue 3 times. This little one can really put on an act. For the past few days, Gu Jing had accompanied me to work as my magical pet. The little wolf was well behaved, quietly resting in my drawer while I worked. Whenever I felt stressed, I would take him out to play. However, Gu Jing could also be quite temperamental, disliking the approach of others and making sure the other witches' magical pets were well disciplined. I truly couldn't fathom what had transpired during the few minutes I stepped into the warehouse for some used potions that made him so withdrawn. So I asked, what happened to him? And Mu leaned closer to my ear. You don't know? Just now, Mr. Lu found him adorable and was curious about his gender. The moment he picked him up, Gu Jing clawed him, drawing blood. He is probably off getting rabies shots right now. I was left speechless. What is the simplest and most brutal way to determine the gender of a little wolf? I couldn't help but imagine the scenario. The image was too vivid. I dared not dwell on it, considering that Gu Jing, despite his adorable exterior as a little wolf, was actually a fully grown male with a normal sexual orientation. I couldn't help but wonder if this experience would leave any emotional scars on him. What kind of look is that? Gu Jing suddenly exploded. You think I was taken advantage of? Well, he did claw someone into the hospital. What advantage could he have gained? Yet, his flustered reaction was undeniably cute. I deliberately teased. Lu Lin is just a person, quite fragile. Besides, he was merely curious. You should have let him be. Who are you asking me to let? Gu Jing stared at me incredulously, his chest heaving with anger. You're defending him? Do you have any idea how dirty his gaze was when he looked at me? Realizing he was about to lose his temper again, I quickly stuffed the little wolf into my bag. Time to go home. As the evening rain began to subside, the air was infused with the earthy scent of soil and the fresh aroma of vegetation. The sky darkened, and once the clouds parted, the stars glimmered in response. I pinched Gu Jing's little paw and gently poked at his soft pads. Aren't you going to transform? He withdrew his paw and turned his head away, adopting a defiant stance. He was still upset. I asked again, what is wrong? You don't want to let me ride anymore? This time, Gu Jing buried his entire head into the bag, refusing to engage with me. I pulled Gu Jing from the fabric bag and placed him atop my head. He settled comfortably there, reminiscent of the little wolf had he once mentioned. All right then, how about you ride me instead? Gu Jing scoffed, a sarcastic laugh escaping him. Aren't you protecting him? Why are you trying to placate me now? Seeing he wouldn't comply with my attempts to coax him, I adopted a colder tone, threatening. I know you have a strong sense of territory, but enough is enough. Don't push your luck. Gu Jing retorted, what do you mean? I replied, this is clearly your territory. What do you think I mean? The little body atop my head instantly stiffened, and I could distinctly feel his little tail swaying behind me. Gu Jing's voice remained frosty. You're quite the talker. I'm not impressed.
Oh.
But your tail seems to say otherwise. Silly wolf. As the moon rose, Gu Jing lifted his little head, letting out a high-pitched "awa." Is this the legendary instinct of a wolf? One of his little paws lazily dangled by my ear, playfully twirling a strand of my hair. I teased him. Can you be a little more manly? He disdainfully snorted, and then let out a series of growls. I chose to ignore it. Gu Jing stood up, softly pressing his velvety paw against my head. He nimbly leaped down, returning to his human form. The cool moonlight cast a silvery sheen upon him, a gentle breeze tousled his hair, and the distant lights reflected in his golden eyes, making them shine even brighter. Gu Jing gazed at me silently, then smiled, crouching down before me. Climb onto my back, he commanded. This time, his voice was no longer the soft and innocent tone of the little wolf, but rather deep and magnetic, particularly enchanting under the night sky. Noticing my hesitation, Gu Jing urged, what are you dawdling for? My cheeks flushed, but I feigned composure. What are you talking about? Gu Jing mimicked my tone. To carry you. Following his instructions, I climbed onto Gu Jing's back, and as he rose slowly, I caught a whiff of the refreshing mint scent, just like the shower gel I used. Today marks the final day of the deadline. Gu Jing strides forward, treading upon the silvered moonlight that blankets the ground, as I surreptitiously admire his resolute profile. Eventually, I can no longer contain myself and confess, rest assured, I cannot return, nor will I have anything to do with Lu Lin. Gu Jing halts momentarily before continuing his way, as if unfazed. He responds with a noncommittal his tone betraying no discernible emotion. I had prepared a plethora of words, yet he does not inquire further, leaving me feeling as if I have struck a pillow with a punch. I wrap my arms around Gu Jing's shoulders, leaning in closer to his ear. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? After a lengthy silence, he turns to look at me, a forced smile gracing his lips. Will you leave me? He chuckles self-deprecatingly, almost like a sigh. That is the only question I have. A tremor runs through my heart. His words resonate like a veiled confession. Your concerns do not trouble me. My sole worry lies in your presence or absence. Resting my chin upon Gu Jing's broad shoulder, I say, but I have questions of my own. Gu Jing, do you not think our marriage is riddled with too many secrets and deceptions? So what? He replies, his voice hoarse, as if his throat is lined with shards of glass, each word escaping with great difficulty. So I wonder, should we reconsider everything? Gu Jing averts his gaze, no longer meeting my eyes. The corners of his elongated eyes flush with a hint of red, his breathing grows labored, and his complexion pales to that of parchment. His thin lips press into a hard line, fury igniting in his irises as he restrains his emotions. There is no us. The only one who needs to reconsider is you, for you do not love me. Those 4 words, you do not love me, Gu Jing nearly bellows. Upon uttering them, he strides forward with urgency, yet his hands remain steadfastly supporting me. Gu Jing, what? He snaps, his tone sharp as a knife. Your wolf ears are showing. Then let them show. When he is joyful, those wolf ears stand proudly upright, but now they droop pitifully, resembling a creature weathered by storms. I gently blow into Gu Jing's ear, causing his soft, gray wolf ears to quiver slightly. Unable to resist, I reach up and pinch the tips of his ears. Don't touch my ears if you don't like me, he retorts, his tone unkind. I never said I disliked you, I reply, tracing circles around his ear with my finger. Gu Jing sways slightly, nearly losing his balance. He fights back tears, his doe-like eyes misty. What do you mean? It means what it says. The amber depths of his eyes rekindle with a spark as he eagerly turns to me, his expression fragile and pitiable. I kiss his fuzzy ear. What I mean is, should we not reconsider and be honest with each other? Gu Jing blinks slowly. Honest? I nod. A gentle, radiant smile breaks across his face, his ears perking up. Honesty is acceptable, but you cannot leave me. After our lengthy discussion about the intricacies of being within a story, the system, and strategies, we arrive back home. Gu Jing sets me down and, in a swift motion, enfolds me in his arms. His embrace trembles slightly. Will you regret this? He asks. A question that cannot be brushed aside lightly. I hesitate for a moment before answering. I will not regret it, but I will feel immense sorrow. Witnessing the opportunity to return home gradually slip away is a tormenting ordeal. Yet, merely in pursuit of Lu Lin, I have already spent 11 years. I admit, if I had met Lu Lin 11 years ago, 5 years ago, or even a year ago, I would have unhesitatingly chosen to pursue him. But now it is too late. Moreover, he is already taken. I raise my gaze to Gu Jing, clearly seeing a small version of myself reflected in his eyes. Am I not already trapped in the wolf's den? Gu Jing is evidently stirred, his eyes sparkling like stars twinkling in the sky. The little cub, seemingly unacquainted with romantic expressions, has his ears flushed a deep crimson. He tenderly cradles my face, leans down, and attempts to kiss me. The atmosphere is just right. Two souls in mutual affection. I close my eyes, eagerly anticipating his kiss. However, a sudden chill brushes against my nose, and the gentle kiss I envision does not come. Unable to contain my curiosity, I open my eyes, only to be met with the unexpected sight of a large wolf head invading my view. Oh, I see. Gu Jing is still just a young wolf cub, lacking control over his emotions. Get away, I exclaim, swatting his wolf head aside. Gu Jing whimpers, covering his face with his hands, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Air? I maintain a stoic expression. Do not feign innocence. I barely exerted any force. Gu Jing, kiss me. Kiss me. The shameless Gu Jing, with his fluffy wolf head, nuzzles against my face, begging for affection. His tail wagging fervently, as if it might break. I question whether this fellow is truly a wolf. I push him away with force. Gu Jing, you have the body of a man and the head of a wolf. I feel as though I am watching a horror film. Do you understand? Gu Jing. Huh? I have no interest. Gu Jing casts a woeful glance my way before pulling me back into his embrace. He towers over me, his chin resting perfectly atop my head. Then let me hold you. His tone is that of a child soothing another, yet I feel he resembles a child more than I do. I pinch the soft flesh of his belly. You have now become honest. We are strangers. Why did you marry me? Gu Jing lifts me, allowing me to step onto his feet. Our foreheads touch, our noses nearly brushing. As Gu Jing explains, we are not strangers. Air. I have known you for a very long time. In fact, that detective agency was mine. As soon as the words leave his lips, Gu Jing shoots me a furtive glance, his heart racing. Upon seeing that I am not angry, he relaxes slightly and continues, actually, I had spoken with your mother beforehand. I realized that when Gu Jing first came to my house, my mother treated him with a warmth that suggested he was the biological child, while I was merely picked from a cornfield. Even my notoriously picky father, the black cat, merely turned a blind eye. Moreover, regarding my peculiar preferences in choosing a partner, only they too were fully aware, and it was my mother who introduced me to the mermaid detective agency. Recalling the countless occasions my mother urged me to marry, after 300 years, you will become an old witch. Who will want you then? Cease this ridiculous standard for a partner immediately. Is being a third wheel for 300 years not enough? Do you intend to be one for a lifetime? Thinking back on it, everything falls into place. Yet, all of this seems trivial now. What I truly yearn to know is, Gu Jing, when did you start to like me? I anticipated a heartfelt confession from Gu Jing, yet he blushes and hesitates before uttering a response I could never have expected. Air, what about that tuft of fur I had you keep close?
Huh?
The little wolf cub, blushing fiercely, hurriedly scurries off to prepare dinner, proclaiming that the answer lies within the sachet. I carefully dismantle the sachet, examining its contents. Besides Gu Jing's tuft of fur and dried osmanthus flowers, I discover a small, pale golden orb. The orb resembles an exquisite glass trinket, adorned with beautiful engravings. Such orbs are crafted by sorcerers and are used to store a person's treasured memories. I chuckle softly, realizing that Gu Jing had already provided me with the answer long ago. I crush the orb, and within a swirl of light and shadow, I witness Gu Jing's past unfold before my eyes. Gu Jing's transformation came rather late, while other wolf cubs began to shift forms after 2 or 3 years. Gu Jing remained in the guise of a small, helpless wolf even at the age of 90. This clumsy little cub often found himself the target of teasing and bullying during his formative years. On one occasion, He was seized by the neighboring black panther and carried up a tree. Trembling, he clung to the trunk, his eyes wide with panic. Gu Jing cautiously attempted to descend, but the height was daunting, each step proving exceedingly arduous. Under the scorching summer sun, the air felt stifling, and darkness encroached upon his vision. He bit his lip tightly, a low whimper escaping his throat. At that moment, he heard a sound from below. What an odd noise. He clung tightly to the tree, peering down. Below stood a figure, clad in attire suggesting she was a little sorceress. After a brief internal struggle, Gu Jing shamefully called for help. Whoa! Look here!
What?
Look here! The sorceress glanced up, following the sound, and he heard her murmur, "Do dogs really climb trees in this world?" Gu Jing protested. "What? I am a wolf." How foolish this dog is, climbing a tree only to find itself unable to descend. Gu Jing retorted with a frustrated "All right, don't fret. I shall get you down." To his astonishment, the sorceress began to clumsily ascend the tree herself, despite having just called him foolish. Was that broom on her back merely for show? Once rescued, Gu Jing found himself cradled in her arms, receiving a generous amount of affectionate petting. He squirmed, and upon raising his gaze, he met her dark, mournful eyes. "After all the trouble I went through to save you, can't I enjoy just a moment of petting?" Resigned, Gu Jing relaxed in her embrace, casting a pitiful glance at his ruffled fur, and unexpectedly recalled the phrase, "The masts and sails reduced to ashes." Masts and sails. Strong and forceful.
What?
Help! The little sorceress lived just a few doors down, and for reasons unknown, Gu Jing occasionally wandered into her yard. On some occasions, when he encountered her, he would be pulled into her arms for yet another round of petting. Eventually, he learned that her name was Shire, though he preferred to call her Air, as her family did. As time passed, Gu Jing suddenly became acutely aware of his possessive nature. For instance, when she petted other foolish cats, he felt a surge of displeasure. Consequently, he bared his fangs, chasing those cats away, before obediently lying before her and rolling onto his back. Pet me, pet me. I am far more adorable than those silly creatures." On another occasion, when Air was watching television, she would snuggle a toy bear in her arms. Gu Jing, filled with silent resentment, thought how poor her taste was to embrace such a drab and ugly thing. Thus, he leapt onto the sofa, nestled into Shire's embrace, and forcefully nudged the toy bear aside. He wagged his tail eagerly. "Hold me. I'm far softer than that ugly thing, and much warmer." In the days that followed, Gu Jing discovered Shire's secret criteria for a mate. He placed his paw upon her bracelet, and in that moment, it felt as if time itself had ceased. 2 seconds later, he took a bite of the bracelet. How dare this insipid little trinket not shine? Would this lord not sink his teeth into it? However, he was swiftly swatted away by Shire. "Foolish dog. I need this to find someone. If you break it, don't blame me for turning you into stew." Gu Jing covered his face with his paw, feeling a mix of jealousy and sorrow. For such an ordinary little bauble, she would threaten to stew him? Though he felt indignation, a plan slowly began to form in his mind. How foolish Air was, if such a thing truly held value. How could it fail to perceive the depth of his affection for her?
The end.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this tale, please consider subscribing and liking it to show your support. Until we meet again for the next story.